Episode number 118 of the Cortex Labs Nootropics podcast. I am your host, Ryan Michael Bell. Thanks so much for being with me. We're going to talk about a lot today, and I'm going to get into that in just a second. But as you guys know, every shred of information we put on this podcast is brought to you by a couple products. We got nootropics products, biohacking products. Number one, we got a stack, fittingly. It's called Cortex. And look, Cortex we made for entrepreneurs. It's like, folks that need to get a lot done over the course of a day, need a particular level of brain function. We created a stack for that. It is called Cortex. $31, livecortex.com right now. Just go buy a bottle. You will like it. If you need my help personally on stack formulation and kind of just adjusting stacks to get them right for you, we have a consulting service on Nootropics. We've got a bunch of different packages, and you can find which package works best for you at livecortex.com. If you are interested in figuring out how to take nootropics at the master class at a higher echelon, people that are 5, 6, 7 years in to take nootropics, they think about stack formulation differently than people that are 1 to 2 years in. We have a course for that. It is called the Nootropics Masterclass, and aligned with what we're gonna some of what we're gonna talk about today. If you're a dude that needs to boost testosterone, look, I was embarrassingly low. Lucas, who we're going to talk to here in just a bit, can attest to that on testosterone. And I really was thinking about going on TRT. And instead, I took a long time to do a lot of research and to try a lot of crap, some of which didn't work, and a lot of which did really work, which we turned into a protocol for testosterone. It's called the Viking Testosterone Protocol, and you get that at livecortex.com. Okay. So what we're going to do here in this podcast is I got my friend Lucas on. He's going to talk with us about a bunch of different things. We're going to talk about some of the most effective biohacks that we have just sort of figured out for ourselves. And then we're going to talk about Lucas's nootropic, which is going to launch sometime in the next 6-month time frame, perhaps a year. Really trying to figure out when exactly it's going to launch, but soon, so you have to look out for it. And it's a nootropic stack called BrainX. The company's coming out of Australia, which I think is really useful for a lot of folks because, folks that buy the Cortex stack or maybe like pre-made stacks like Alpha Brain or Siltep or something, you have to buy the stuff from the States, and the stuff has to ship to you from the States, and it's like more shipping. But if you're over there on that side of the world, you probably have cheaper shipping buying BrainX. It's also an awesome stack, but they're going to ship to the U.S. too for folks that are, thinking about that. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Lucas. Lucas, say what's up to everybody.
Ryan, what's up, man?
What is up, my dude? So for those of you that don't know, I've been talking with Lucas for, God, how long has it been? A couple years, 2-3 years?
Quite some time, man. Just always exchanging cool biohacking knowledge.
Exchanging is like the key word. We're just on Facebook Messenger, like, dude, look, I tried this. This worked for me. This worked for testosterone. This is like a stack I've been experimenting with. And there's like, I got to say, Lucas, there's nobody else in the world that I rely on sometimes for like good information. And then I can just like be like, hey, here's this new wacky thing I tried. And then I know you won't judge me about it.
Yeah, that's probably because I've probably tried it myself and embarrassed myself.
Right, exactly. So Lucas, before we get into the 6 biohacks that each of us have figured out, 3 from you, 3 from me, just kind of tell our audience which does know who you are. On the YouTube comments recently, because we've been talking about you, folks are actually commenting. Because I'm like, hey, we got to support Lucas, and BrainX is launching. People are actually commenting like, Lucas, exclamation point.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So some of the folks that follow our stuff know who you are, but for those that don't, just kind of break down who you are, why you're into nootropics and biohacking, and kind of what you're trying to do in the field.
Yeah, sure, man. Well, first off, just want to say that I'm really grateful for you having me on today, and just humbled to sort of be here. But
totally.
Basically, my background sort of started as I was playing professional soccer. Back then I was experimenting with various nootropics and compounds to sort of enhance my reaction time on the soccer field.
Oh, no way.
Saw some huge benefit there. Then I sort of looked beyond that and just sort of looked into how nootropics can sort of optimize or enhance another aspect of my lifestyle, and then integrate it into my studies, and then just fell in love with just researching, experimenting, tracking, and then that sort of eventuated into me transitioning out of my exercise science degree and then moving into my naturopathy degree, which is what I'm completing here in Melbourne currently. I'm in my final year.
Wow.
And throughout that time, I also got involved in like a nootropic startup. So I got the chance to sort of formulate a nootropic a few years back. And currently just smashing out heaps of content on Instagram. So like sharing very novel and very underground sort of biohacks for people in a pretty simple way as well. Like I'm just trying to sort of look at common herbs, common foods, but in a different, like from a different perspective.
Yeah, I get it. I saw
offering people something very unique. You know?
I saw some of that stuff on like kiwi. Like that's just like no one talks about like the benefits of taking kiwi, man. So two things there. You mentioned that you had been part of a startup that had a nootropic prior. Tell folks about that. Yeah,
so that was actually one of the only nootropic companies here in Melbourne about 3-4 years ago. And basically they started off with pre-packaging just the racetams, like a lot of the piracetam, oxiracetam.
Yep.
And I came on board and like, man, like you need to offer something natural or something a bit more accessible for most people. And that's when I brought on board. In fact, I was the first person to utilize teacrine, like theacrine, in Australia, really, because I like researched that ingredient, saw that it had potential, and then we integrated it into our natural stack.
Wow.
And that entire stack consisted of like CDP choline, teacrine, bacopa. I think it had a small amount of pycnogenol, like pine bark.
Yes.
And tyrosine, and I think one of the like B6. So back then, we got good feedback from that product. People loved it. It was just that it was really difficult to sort of penetrate the entire nootropics market.
Yeah.
Like, as you know, here in Australia, it's pretty tricky.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, the thing that I figured out about the nootropics market is they need content. Like I was working with a guy who does ads. He basically like sets up Facebook ads and Google ads for folks. And he's like, dude, if you can get a perfect price point, which for like a nootropic is like $25 to $35 in his opinion, and people just want to pull the trigger, you'll get them to pull the trigger. And I was kind of like, what I learned about the nootropics community and like the contingent of people that take them and consume the content is that they're a very differently educated group of people. You're not, it's harder to get like Joe and Mary on the street to be like, oh, cool, like, I see this ad with this nootropic and that looks good, I'm going to buy it. Like, they're like, nootropic? Like, what is that? Then they start doing their research and then they enter the rabbit hole of nootropics. And so it's like hard. So the solution I found is educating folks. And the only way to do that is content. Like if you're one of the primary content pushers that's just putting out endless amounts of useful information around nootropics, that's the way to people buying product, because that's what they're going to do anyway. They're buying nootropic product anyway. And if you have one, I mean, it's it. You're kind of in. But I think the important thing is that, Lucas, you have experience with formulating a nootropic stack and you've been taking stacks for a long time. And I think that's relevant to BrainX, which we're gonna talk about. But what's your Instagram channel? That's the second thing, so folks can go check it out.
Yeah, so it's ergogenic_health.
Okay.
For people a lot of people are like, oh, what does ergogenic mean? Well, really that term basically just means any substance or behavior that's used to enhance performance. So it's pretty
right.
Yeah, stems from like nootropics wanting to enhance.
Sure. I mean, it's pretty relevant. So ERGONENIC_health.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Check it out on Instagram, folks. Ergogenic_health. Look, I mean, you got to go and follow Lucas's Instagram channel. The stuff that's on there is stuff you will not see on typical like biohackers Instagram or like Facebook or websites. It's just stuff that all of us can get a benefit from. So follow
even Ben Greenfield.
Even Ben Greenfield, man, the biohacker king. You know, Ben is what. We had been talking about you and I testosterone for a long time, and you know, once I got into really hammering down elements of a protocol that actually worked, you know, Ben Greenfield was one of the people that validated the idea of infrared red light therapy for testosterone. So, yeah, that dude rocks.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's awesome.
So we're going to get right into our biohacks. I'm going to start with my top 3, and these are biohacks that are relevant to me right now, that are based on things that are important in my life. And then Lucas is going to give his. So my top 3 are, number 1, is infrared red light therapy for testosterone. Look, I had a conversation with a fertility doctor. God, I want to say this was like a year ago or so, kind of when I was like really struggling with testosterone after having recovered, or you know, been mostly recovered from diagnosed adrenal fatigue, which will lower your test if your adrenal hormones are not pumping out correctly. Your test is going to lower. And one of the things she told me, she's like, yeah, I work with men. I was consulting her on nootropics, and she's like, I work with men on sperm mobility and testosterone, and I don't give them anything. I don't give them herbs. I don't tell them to take Shilajit or cordyceps or any of that stuff. I just have them shine a 660 nanometer infrared red light on their reproductive stuff. And we have documented results on both testosterone increases and sperm mobility. And I was kind of like, around this time, like, you know, this was, it almost like just started to become pretty mainstream and popular then. I mean, people have been talking about it for a while, but it's like, it almost hit the mainstream then. I was kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I have some stuff that's kind of working for me, but I'll, give it a shot. Once I brought it into my protocol, which is nine major things that, a guy should do. Really, there's like 20 if you're including like your diet and, whatever. How you exercise is very important for testosterone. But once I brought it into my other things that comprise the Viking testosterone protocol, I mean, the sex drive difference was enormous. The erection quality difference was enormous. I mean, there's studies on shining red light on the tip of your stuff and then men regaining spontaneous erection ability. This is something that if you have low test or if you're kind of getting older, that men lose. So my number one is infrared red light therapy. I do it for 10 minutes a night. Every night. I do this every single night of my life. I shine it pretty close, about 6 inches away from kind of the whole area. And yeah, it's a huge difference. And for guys that are looking to improve testosterone and aren't doing other things, like if you could just do one thing, do the infrared red light therapy. You can get a 660 nanometer near infrared red light on Amazon and plug it into a freaking snake light and do it yourself from home. Yeah, that's my number one. And red light's so cool because it works for a lot of other things too. I mean, it improves the age of eggs in the female uterus for fertility. A lot of women that are having fertility issues are having fertility issues because they're older and their egg quality is diminished because of their age. So the eggs actually have an age. For testosterone, red light therapy is basically enhancing ATP and energy production in the mitochondria of the cells, and particularly the Leydig cells, which are the cells that are producing testosterone in the testes. And then for women, for fertility, it's just enhancing the egg quality and essentially attempting to reverse the age of the eggs in the female's uterus. And one thing about female fertility that I'll say is that egg quality is everything. I mean, you should have your diet right, you should have everything else right, but egg quality is really important. So that is my number one, infrared red light therapy on testosterone. My number 2 is just a simple nootropic stack that I've been using to focus. Look, I mean, I focus pretty well kind of at baseline. I never really had a hard time focusing, but I'm like the rest of people that, like if there's 12 tabs open and there's phone calls coming in and there's emails coming in and Facebook's open, like I get distracted. But taking a stack of 300 milligrams of Alcar, pretty innocuous compound. It's a quad of an amino acid. 15 milligrams fasoracetam, which only in the last 2 years, but more the last 1 year intensely I've been experimenting with. And then 100 milligrams of theacrine. I get energy, which I need. My brain slows down too enough for me to not have that distractibility with this stack. I'm just I feel good, my mood is good, I have mental energy, everything else works great. And, though some folks like to take very complex stacks, and we have stacks for that, and we talk about that a lot on the channel, this is a very simple stack, and those stacks are good too. And this is my favorite stack. I'm hyped about it for focus that I've been taking. That's number 2. Number 3 is my pre-workout strategy. So working out is obviously a pretty important element to anyone's strategy or schedule. And it is to me. It makes me feel better. My blood flows differently. You can improve microcirculation. My brain feels different. I respond to food different. I sleep differently. My testosterone is affected. My physique is affected from working out. So it's a really important thing in my life. And, a lot of folks talk about the necessity for sodium in workouts. And yeah, I mean, I think folks just kind of skim through that or blow past that as if it isn't this substantial thing, but it really, really is. So this is my pre-workout that I'm going to quickly explain it. Then we'll get on to Lucas's biohacks. Number 1, it's a gram of sodium. Okay. It's a gram of sodium, but I do not take sodium in sea salt and water because it basically facilitates bowel movements too quickly. If you just have sea salt and water, it's just the perfect concentration to start moving your bowels. So I don't want that, obviously. I got a product and, we don't work for them or whatever. I just kind of like to rave about products that I like, called Hydration Multiplier. It's by a company called Liquid IV. And each packet, they have little satchels of sodium in them. Is 500 milligrams of sodium. It's got a little bit of cane sugar and then a flavoring. It's a lemon flavor. And I take 2 of those satchels, so it's 1 gram of sodium with my workout, pre-workout, a half hour before I go in. The other part of the workout is nootropic related. I'm dosing 5 milligrams of Noopept, which is really low. 100 of L-tyrosine, just gives me extra alertness. 200 of theacrine, which gives me more energy to kind of just kill the workout. And then a very low dose of phenylpiracetam. Phenylpiracetam is very cholinergically kind of muscular oriented. When you are engaging in muscle contractions, one of the major chemicals in your body that's allowing you to do that is acetylcholine, and phenylpiracetam optimizes the profile of that pretty substantially. So that is my third biohack. That's my pre-workout. I feel like a Viking when I go into the gym. I walk in there all hyped out. Everyone's like, "Oh, this dude, this dude's here," I suggest it for most folks, especially if you can get the doses right. You might need to vary the doses, in 50 milligram increments on some of the other stuff, and 1 or 2 milligram increments on the Noopept. Last thing before we get to your stuff, not a biohack, okay? But one thing that's really been cool in my life that I'm going to keep doing is, look, my apartment, it especially when my girlfriend comes over, and sometimes even when she doesn't, because I'm busy and working a lot, it becomes messy really quickly. And what I've been doing as a hack to my life, not a biohack, is basically I've been cleaning up after myself after every single thing that I do that could cause a mess. So if I do a dish or something and I eat some food and there's dishes and crap everywhere, I clean the counter, I clean my stove, I do the dishes literally. If my chick comes over and her clothes are everywhere and my clothes are everywhere and there's just stuff everywhere, the moment she leaves, I clean everything up. And from that, I'm able to keep my place super clean and tidy and looking good. And how that's relevant to productivity is your brain looking at a tidy, neat environment is better for productivity than looking at an environment that, where kind of stuff just like kind of thrown everywhere. It literally changes how you focus. Yeah. So those are my 3 biohacks, with my added number 4, which is to clean up after yourself as you make the mess, or right after you make the mess. We are going to move on to Lucas's biohacks, because that's really the focus of this podcast. I mean, the kind of stuff that Lucas has taught me via these calls and via messages, and just kind of working with Lucas on an ad hoc basis in various capacities over the years. It changed my life. I mean, Lucas, you were the one that was giving me suggestions initially on testosterone. You're the one that turned me on to cyproheptadine for serotonin upregulation, 5-HT1A serotonin upregulation. And you're a young dude, man, and you're out here teaching folks a lot. And I've been in the industry of kind of biohacking nootropics for 12 years, but some of the most important things that I've learned over the last 3 or 4 years, you taught me. And it's awesome, dude. So I want to open the floor up to you to give everybody your 3 biohacks and kind of whatever the heck else you feel is relevant around that stuff. Go for it.
Yes, sweet. So first off the bat for me is actually quite similar to your first one. And I hadn't seen your ones prior to this, but basically my first one is icing the balls, like icing the gonads. Now, like, sort of sounds a bit crazy, a bit obscure, but basically just involves cooling our testicles as men. So basically, the big reason why our testicles are outside the body is because they need to be kept a lot cooler, 2 degrees cooler than the actual core body temperature. So actually, I started this about 2 years ago. And basically what I do is I'll do like 10 to 15 minute blocks, either like just before bed or just before the gym.
Okay.
And basically it makes me feel like just super invigorated, similar to how like many people feel after they take a cold shower. Sort of makes me wonder whether the people or the guys that feel great after a cold shower, the main reason is probably because they're actually just dropping the temperature of their testicles. And there's tons of research on, like, it's called nocturnal scrotal cooling. Yeah. For like improving fertility, sperm count, sperm motility, things like that. So I actually ended up setting up a Facebook group dedicated to the entire practice. And we're nearing like 1,000 members. And basically every guy that just jumps in the group just says, yeah, this is awesome. Like, feeling so much better, like sex drive, burn your skin down there. But I reckon, that's like a pretty well-known like biohack amongst the like Russian and Chinese powerlifters.
Yep.
They all use it before they lift. And I can sort of see the evidence as to why they would do it. Plus, I mean, how do you feel? Like, just a big difference. So that's my number 1.
Okay, so let me ask you this. You were explaining to me that, you have suggested this to a lot of people. You've got this Facebook page on it, and you seem to be talking about it a lot. What are your experiences with men and results? I remember one time you explained to me that guys that hadn't had morning wood in a while were having morning wood. Is that true? And what do you think of that?
Yeah, we had some people leave their sort of experience in the group, just saying like, the spontaneous erections have come back, the morning wood's back stronger, and just general vitality and libido just went through the roof.
Man,
so
that is huge.
Yeah, I know. So that was really positive, and I even did some testing myself, sort of before and after. But I probably wasn't really a good test study because, like a test case, because I actually didn't have low testosterone before I started using it. But basically, the very last blood test that I completed was about 3 months ago, and I was shocked. It wasn't just from the icing, but I've been doing some other things as well.
Yep.
My level was just below 1,000. My total test was.
Wow.
988. It was actually, it was off the scale here in Australia.
Yeah.
Like the reference ranges are ridiculous here.
Yeah.
They want everyone to be castrated.
Right. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was quite surprised. It sort of meant my facial hair was growing ridiculous.
Hey man.
At ridiculous rates and things like that. But
that's beautiful. A lot of guys have a lot of problem growing beards, man. So yeah, listen, ice your stuff. You do it for 10 to 15 minutes a night, Lucas?
Yeah, around about then, just until the cubes pretty much melt.
Okay, and then what do you suggest for folks that, it gets a little too uncomfortable? Do they pace it? Do they take it off for a little bit and they kind of just put it back on as much as you can stand kind of thing?
Yeah, you can obviously just reduce the intensity, just take the ice cubes away and then just sort of let it cool down or like warm back up naturally.
Okay, and is best thing like a rag or paper towel with ice or an ice pack?
Well, sometimes I use like a proper, there's actually a company called Jetpack Ice Pack, and they've literally designed an ice pack for this, for guys to use. It's like a weird shaped ice pack that wrap around.
Yeah. That's critical actually, because that's like more detailed and for the shape of it all. I have to look into that. I'm just gonna make a note. Jetpack.
Yeah, we can link it below in this.
Okay. Yeah, we will. Let's remember to do that. Yeah, link Jetpack. Okay. All right. Awesome.
Yeah, number 2 for me, and you briefly mentioned it before. That was cyproheptadine microdosing. I've used So let's go back. So cyproheptadine is the very first generation antihistamine that was developed to treat allergies and to also stimulate appetite. So essentially, the reason why I was interested in cyproheptadine is because it helps to resensitize that 5-HT1A receptor, which can be desensitized by compounds like ashwagandha, possibly theanine, rhodiola, some of these other nootropics, which for some people they can experience like emotional flatlining or diminished pleasure, because that receptor plays a key role in mediating oxytocin release and also dopamine release in a part of the brain that's sort of responsible for the reinforcing effects of pleasure.
Where in the brain is that?
I think it's in the substantia nigra or the striatum.
Okay, that's really interesting stuff, man. I mean, that's detailed biohacking. When you're talking about dopamine release or enhancing dopamine release and oxytocin in specific regions of the brain. I mean, that is as detailed as it gets. I didn't know about the oxytocin release, man. So I'm going to make a note of that and do some research and get into it.
Yeah, but this is the real funny thing is that with cyproheptadine, it's not something I look forward to taking, because it is not, for all those listeners out there, it is not a fun. It is not a pro-nootropic drug at all.
Yeah.
The reason why I use it is it's basically stemming around the principle, get bad to get good. 1 step back, 2 steps forward.
Right.
Because it's sort of like the rebound properties of it. So basically, if I have, let's say 200 micrograms of cyproheptadine at 4 p.m. on a Monday night,
mm-hmm.
I'll sleep amazing because it drops the cortisol, drops adrenaline, and it promotes drowsiness. So I'll sleep really, really well. I'll wake up feeling, still pretty exhausted.
Yeah.
The same thing on day 2, I'll still feel pretty crappy and a bit irritable, and the signs and symptoms are low histamine and low serotonin. And then sort of day 3 or day 4, it has this crazy rebound effect where all emotions, all feelings come rushing back.
Wow.
And it's somehow there's many mechanisms. It does block a lot of receptors. We're even talking, it blocks the D3 dopamine receptor.
Initially.
And it broadly blocks all of the serotonin receptors, which is part of the reason why it's so good for like improve digestive capacity and like reducing bloating. It can basically make you eat anything you want without getting bloated.
Interesting. That's important for folks that have SIBO. I mean, that could be at least a good temporary solution for folks that are running into SIBO. Yeah, that's all super interesting, man.
So that's definitely like for me number 2.
Well, how do you suggest folks dose it? Because it's a liquid solution, right?
I mean, I've got tablets, so it's even harder for me to actually microdose it.
Okay.
But for the liquid form, it would make sense that you can literally just drop it in, like let's say 250 ml or 500 ml of water, mix it in so it fully dilutes, and then drink like let's say 1/10 of that, so like 50 ml. Okay. So you can do it like that.
And what we did was, because I had, for the record, I had tried this too, and it massively improved my libido. It improved my digestion while I was taking it, and I had the same experiences where, I didn't feel particularly happy or great, and then the next day when I woke, because I would take it at nighttime, I woke up the next day, and I had a grog, like a grogginess that lasted like 2-3 hours until I kind of went to the gym and kind of cleared it all out. But it did make me a lot happier. I noticed my mood was a lot better in the ensuing couple days, and I actually feel like it helped my adrenals to function better because there's like interaction with the HPA axis and this neurotransmitter receptor as well. But what you had me do is you had me drip from a company called Ideal Labs. I think it's ideallabs.com. Their liquid cyproheptadine. You had me drip 1 to 2 drips of that, 1 to 2 drops of it into water 2 nights a week, and then wait an entire week and then do that same protocol again, and then rinse and repeat for as long as is necessary. Is that still what you suggest for folks, or would you suggest they microdose it like you do?
Well, looking back now, I sort of realize that the microdosing still elicits the same effects at higher doses, but without many of the negatives.
Wow.
So like, it's still, I don't know how, like the pharmacokinetics around it, but it's still managing to do what I want it to do at a microdose.
That's amazing. Awesome. That's amazing. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's number 2. Number 3 for me, I had like sort of going forward, basically is using GDAs, so glucose disposal agents.
Okay.
So basically, I'm sure many of your listeners have heard of like metformin.
Yep. Diabetes drug. Yeah, wonder drug for diabetes apparently, or blood sugar. Yeah. Yeah.
So the reason why like GDAs are useful is because I'm sure like many people listening in have probably got some degree of insulin resistance.
Yeah.
And that is a very big deal for those who care about maintaining, cognition, because like they start to. There's theories that insulin resistance is like one of the hallmarks for like Alzheimer's and some other neurodegenerative disorders. So,
right. Yeah. I mean, well, they say diabetes is or Alzheimer's rather is essentially type 3 diabetes or diabetes of the brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
So basically, like GDAs for me. The reason why I like them so much is obviously I've got like a family history of type 2 diabetes, so I'm sort of taking a proactive approach. But it also sort of allows me to maintain a pretty high carbohydrate diet without experiencing the crashing, like all the slumps in energy.
Yeah.
So some of my favorite GDAs, like glucose disposal agents, are like compounds like cinnamon, bitter melon, berberine, pretty good as well, and then vanadium, which is another trace mineral.
Okay.
Some of these I'll just basically have like 20 minutes before a big carbohydrate meal, and what that does, it sort of helps to shuttle or mimic the effects of insulin, and thereby sort of enhancing glucose disposal within the muscle cells and the liver, instead of it just floating around in the bloodstream causing damage.
Wow. That's if anything's a biohack, that's it. I'd never heard of glucose disposal agents or anything relative to that. I mean, I think that's a very critical focal point for a lot of folks because, dealing with nootropics, people that we do nootropics consulting on, a lot of them are, first, they have issues. Like they're trying to approach taking nootropics from the perspective of getting rid of their brain fog and fatigue that happens at 11 a.m. or 3 p.m. or something. And but the first focus for me is like, okay, what's causing that fatigue? And for a lot of folks, man, it's not just America and the standard American diet, but it's like folks everywhere. That's a problem. That's great. Folks, take heed because I think that's a very useful new thing that we just kind of all learned from Lucas. We should all look into it.
Yeah. That's pretty much they're my top three. Then I also had like wearing blue blocking glasses in the evening.
Okay, and what do they do?
Yeah, so basically they just filter out any blue-green light that comes in through your eyes. So basically what that means for people is that they're going to bump up or help the body to synthesize melatonin, so like the master sleep hormone.
Critical.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I usually wear them at like 6:30 p.m., 7 p.m. at night. And then like 2 to 3 hours after wearing them, I just get so sleepy and tired.
Wow.
And it just sort of makes sense. Like it's better to encourage your body to make melatonin rather than taking melatonin.
Right.
Like, you can take melatonin for other therapeutic benefits, but I just see it as like, right, let's just work with our environment, alter our environment, and then let the body do its thing.
Yeah.
Let it synthesize its own melatonin.
That seems to be the case for like a lot of things too. I mean, if you can, rather than going on TRT, encourage your body to produce testosterone, that's better. If you can encourage yourself rather than taking metformin or something or other diabetes-esque drugs to manage insulin and blood sugar response better, then that's good. If you can do it endogenously and figure out how to make your body work better, then it's kind of better than taking a supplement or a drug for it.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Okay. So that's awesome, dude. Guys, look, take heed on all the stuff that Lucas just said. I am going to go and do my own research on some of that stuff, especially the glucose stuff. The testosterone thing, I mean, God, if you're a guy and you need to raise test, it's not only about sex drive and having libido and kind of feeling masculine and confident, but testosterone is massively anti-aging. You have high testosterone for good bit of your adult life. It prevents you from aging, man. You feel better. You wake up focused. You feel different with your wife or girlfriend. It's a totally different dynamic when you have high test versus low. So Lucas's suggestions on icing the testicles, my suggestions on using the infrared red light therapy. I mean, this is stuff that is near and dear to our heart. This stuff works. There's research on all of it and a ton of anecdotals. So Lucas, anything else you want to say around biohacks?
Just the last point is that I want to encourage everyone to try and just track and somehow record and monitor and like always sort of like audit yourself, because at the end of the day, like if you're not checking in to see like, without that level of awareness, you can't see what's making an impact.
Yes.
You just can't really see change.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I experienced that a lot doing consulting with people on nootropics. We give people 5 to 6 suggestions, and then we're like, hey, man, I need you to email me and let me know exactly how you're feeling from just this stack. Then we can adjust it and move forward. And anything about biohacking and improving anything is about taking that sort of granular approach to figuring out exactly what is making a difference and what isn't making a difference. You don't want to muddy the waters. Once you start muddying the waters, folks are like, yeah, I felt really good when I took the stack, but also I took like, X, X, and X, and I ate like a big meal at 3 p.m. and I went to the gym. So I don't know what worked, You got to be granular about that. So that's a super good point. Lucas. Yeah. So look, man, let's shift directions here into talking about nootropics and BrainX particularly. Again, BrainX is a nootropic satchel. It's coming in like a small little satchel that you can put in a drink or water, right, Lucas?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's best used in coffee because it does synergize like with caffeine, but it can definitely be used in any other beverage and like a smoothie or even just like as a pre-workout.
Awesome. Very cool. So first, before we talk about BrainX and the ingredients and why you think it's going to be useful for people and how it's affected you, we want to encourage folks to go to brainx.me. If you go to brainx.me, you're going to see BrainX. You'll see the little satchel. It's like an epic. Whoever designed your website, it's like awesome, man. The thing looks awesome. And we want to support this product launch, and we want folks to be aware of when the product is launching, whenever it happens. So this is what you have to do. Go to brainx.me and then put your email address in, just an email address, to get notified of when they launch. That's all you're doing at this point. You can unsubscribe at any point. When the product launches, BrainX is going to email you and say, hey, it's launched. If you want it, awesome. If you don't, great. Totally up to you, but that's what we have to do. All of my followers, everybody on YouTube, everybody listening to this podcast, you guys got to go and support Lucas. We've been talking about Lucas for just about 3 weeks now. He is one of us. Go to brainx.me, get on the pre-order list. So Lucas, tell us about BrainX. Tell us, we know kind of why you wanted to do it. If there's more besides, you've been interested in nootropics, and then you had helped formulate Flow, I think it was called. Back in the day, and then tell us about BrainX. Break down the ingredients. Tell us how you think it's going to affect people, how it affects you, how it affects beta testers if you have them, and kind of anything else relevant.
Yeah, sure, man. So the reason why I formulated BrainX was basically to provide people with something that they can use to sort of optimize dopamine on a daily basis. Sort of with like compounding effects over time. So, obviously, one of the key ingredients in BrainX is a herb from Brazil, which is known as catuaba. And basically, catuaba has mild dopamine reuptake inhibition, and also we don't have a lot of research on how it's working in terms of like interacting with dopamine receptors, but basically. From a lot of the anecdotal reports is that it sort of has reverse tolerance, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, it's powerful.
And it's a very powerful compound. It definitely improves all of the typical like high dopamine effects, like improving mood, motivation, alertness, and it possibly works through one of the opioid receptors as well. So it's probably like interfering with like pleasure and reward as well.
Yeah.
That's the first ingredient. Then I've stacked that with Miraprima, which is another Amazonian herb. And traditionally, they always use these two herbs together. Like a lot of the tribes back in like hundreds of years ago, they would always stack the catuaba alongside the Miraprima. And they actually originally were using it as an aphrodisiac. But I'm sure many of the effects of like a typical aphrodisiac they're sort of linked to like motivation and mood and focus. Because as you know, they'd be working through the same sort of receptor sites. And I've stacked them with uridine monophosphate. I'm sure many of your listeners know the benefits of uridine.
Absolutely, yep. Yeah, I mean, a lot of our customers, first of all, Cortex customers take the Cortex stack, which is primarily uridine. I mean, there's CDP choline, artichoke extract, bacopa in there, but they take it, and then a lot of people that watch the channel experiment with uridine on a pretty frequent basis. If there's one compound besides modafinil that folks have had like a really, really standout effect from, it's uridine. So folks know uridine, my man.
Yeah. So the uridine is in there at a very low dose to potentiate the catuaba and also the caffeine, because we know that it strengthens stimulating and locomotive effects of caffeine. And then the final ingredient is my filler, but it's not really a filler, it's a therapeutic filler, and that is D-ribose. Now, D-ribose is a naturally occurring sugar, and basically what it helps the body do is resynthesize ATP. So very similar to creatine.
Yeah.
but that's sort of like a naturally occurring sort of sugar that doesn't actually spike blood sugars as well.
Wow.
So they're getting that sort of sweet taste without it actually impacting, insulin or their blood sugar. And then it's also fueling ATP synthesis in the brain and the heart and the muscles.
Wow.
So it's a very well-rounded, like BrainX the entire stack has been very, very well thought out.
Yep.
And the feedback from the initial like beta testers was phenomenal, man. Like people were just saying reducing because that final ingredient, the D-ribose, also reduces the crash from caffeine.
Okay.
It works through like adenosine and calcium influx and things like that. But
wow.
basically, the entire stack. A lot of people said that it improves their mood. That's the big ones, like mood. Just more like a bit lighter, like a bit more outgoing, a bit more social, and then better focus and better mental energy. They're sort of key features.
That's critical, man. So for you, it does that same thing, improves your mood, gives you motivation, has you focus, or what?
I think for me, the most outstanding effect is that it just massively increases my confidence.
Wow.
And just and it sort of makes me a bit more witty, like a bit more less inhibited, and also like when I'm in social situations, it sort of turns me into a bit more of a joker.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny, man. And that's critical for a lot of folks. Cause folks use nootropics and different chemical compounds that modify brain function for a variety of reasons. But the quantity of people that hit us up and that I interact with on the channel that talk about the necessity to have a better social adeptness is large. I mean, that's an issue with folks, especially like when we, depending on where you live, like whatever society you're living in. I mean, there's degrees of fabricated behavior in those societies. And so it's hard to interact with people in a social capacity because you're kind of always worried about that a little bit. And then you're sort of worried about your own shortcomings and stuff. And so that's critical, man. Yeah,
definitely. I've actually come up with a sort of nickname for Katwaba. I consider it the first impression herb.
Nice. Very nice. Wow. No one's ever heard of that before. That is awesome. Well, man, so anything else you want to say about the ingredients or the formulation?
Not really, no. Like, I guess like people should be, using no more than 2 sachets per day.
Okay.
And definitely avoid it before bed because it's going to interrupt your sleep.
Yep.
But that's pretty much it from the ingredients aspect.
Okay. So tell folks, what they should do. We iterated it before, but I want you to reiterate it so that, we can do everything we can to get this thing launched and out there. It's going to launch anyway, folks. I mean, the product is solid, and I can't wait for it to come out. And I know some of you guys that are into nootropics and into trying new things are excited for it because we've been talking about it for like 3 weeks to a month now. So Lucas, tell us where folks can go and what they should do.
Yeah, so as you mentioned before, people can just jump onto like brainx.me. On the landing page, they'll get a chance to pre-order. So that just means that they'll be leaving their email address below so that they get notified when we're ready to actually start distributing and getting the product out there. So if you guys can help me out, that'd be amazing. It's just, I can't wait to get into people's hands because so far from the initial beta testers, like it's just been like nothing short of amazing. So just can't wait for more people. I want millions of people to experience BrainX and just love it. Like I can already see the feedback. It's just going to be like, wow, your product was an absolute game changer.
That's amazing. I mean, that's good, dude, because the products that are out there now, they're good. Okay, like Alpha Brain, a lot of people respond pretty well to. Siltep, folks respond well to, depending on the doses. The Cortex Stack, folks love the Cortex Stack. MindLab Pro, Optimind, all the other pre-made stacks that are out there are good for certain people. But what the nootropics industry has unconsciously been waiting for is a new formulation of compounds that is frankly specifically targeted toward dopamine and dopamine functionality and mood, and then of course general focus and motivation in addition to that. So I think the coolest thing about it, besides that it's coming out of Australia, is that it is in a satchel. So it's like, that is a new and up and coming frontier on essentially nootropics administration. Those of us that have been in the game for a while, we've been taking nootropics in that capacity, like dumping it in water or coffee or a smoothie for a long time. But there aren't many pre-made formulas that are like that. There's a company that launched, the name has escaped me right now. You know what I'm talking about? They launched a nootropic that essentially is a satchel.
TrueBrain?
Yeah, TrueBrain. So TrueBrain has a bunch of different formulations, and most of their stuff is liquid, but they're the only majorly popular company that has that, and even still the results seem to be varying, and I don't know, I don't see them on the radar all that often. They're not putting out content, so who knows how they're doing, but that's what's really exciting about BrainX, in addition to what the effects are and how these compounds modulate neurochemistry in a way that's beneficial residually, is the fact that it's in a satchel. You open the satchel, you put it in a liquid, you freaking drink it, and you're done. No scales, no messes, no capsule machine, none of that stuff. It's just a satchel in a drink, and you're done.
That's it.
Yeah, it's super awesome, man. Anything else you want to say about BrainX?
Yeah, if people want to dive into the research, they can go onto the FAQs section on the website, and they can scroll down. And I've got a big breakdown of all the research behind each of the ingredients, so they can sort of, not take my word like as gospel and actually check out the research and sort of back what I'm saying.
Yep, so, got it. No, let me ask you this. So go to brainx.me, check out the FAQs, read the research on the ingredients, everyone. Let me ask you, though, putting out the science behind chemicals, does the Australian FDA equivalent get on your butt for that? Because they do here in the States. If you're referencing science related to a supplement, they tend to get on your butt for it. So how do they behave over there?
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous here as well. But there are sort of loopholes. So basically, if you put the research sort of page, like if you put the research on a different page, you can sort of get away with it. And again, of course, it's all about the wording as well. Like, you're not saying that directly, in humans, not going to be doing this X, Y, and Z.
Right, so, got it.
But it's a massive headache. Just, I'm sure you've been through it.
Yeah. It totally is. You got chemical compounds that most of which, when we're talking about nootropics, have a lot of studies behind them that enhance neurotransmission. And yet you can't say that it enhances neurotransmission in humans. It's just a wacky system. But our general intention is to help people to function better, and in the end, what is good usually wins. And so that's what's going to happen with BrainX. Go to brainx.me, everybody. Get on the pre-order list. Give your email to Lucas so that they can notify you when the product launches. It's another nootropic stack. Lucas is one of us, and it's going to be awesome. Any last remarks, Lucas? Anything else you want to tell folks?
Not really, man. Like, we've pretty much covered everything. So I think, I'm just super keen to move this forward.
Totally. It's great having you, man. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful that, you've taken the last, however much, time over the course of weeks, in the course of the last 3 to 4 years, to help me with my kind of biohacking adventures, suggesting stuff for testosterone, suggesting stuff for serotonin, and kind of everything else. It's been amazing working with you back and forth and kind of just like exchanging ideas. We're definitely going to continue to do that. Guys, check out Lucas's channel on Instagram, ergogenic_health, ERGONENIC_health on Instagram. The guy has one of the most information-dense biohacking Instagram channels there is on the web, so you must go check him out. Go to brainx.me, sign up for the pre-order. You will be happy that you did, and we'll keep you all posted of the launch. Any last words, Lucas?
No, that's pretty much it, man. I'm just, very grateful to be here, and also, it's been awesome just exchanging cool biohacking tricks, and I'm sure I've got many, many more to come.
Totally. And you know what? We'll bring you on another podcast and maybe do like a video session that we can put on the YouTube channel. This is going to go both on the podcast and the YouTube channel too. So folks, look forward to Lucas coming back and talking more about BrainX and biohacking in general. There's a wellspring of information in Lucas's brain that he is, that he can offer for us, and that we can all, as people that are 1 to 3 years into biohacking or 10 years plus in, get a benefit from. All right, this has been episode number 118 of the Cortex Labs Nootropics Podcast. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Remember, everything that we do is brought to you by a couple sponsors. We got the Cortex Stack. Look, it's the kind of stack, if you want endless verbal fluency, and I guess not endless, but like a pretty significant degree of verbal fluency and motivation, take the Cortex Stack. It's like, that's what I built it for. When I figured out that this was a good product to launch, I was kind of sitting running my old business, which I had to take a lot of sales calls for, realizing, dude, my brain is so much more fluid. I am so much more verbally fluent, and I'm motivated to do my work. That's when I was like, I got the bug to create a new company. I'm like, this has to be a pre-made stack. It's simple. No one is talking about these compounds together, and it's working for me. Get the Cortex Stack at livecortex.com. $31 right now. If you need a discount, use the coupon code 5. It'll take it down to $26 a bottle. That is cheap for a good pre-made stack. If you need my help on formulating stacks, look, we have a consulting service, and it's me talking with you for 40 minutes over the phone or Skype, figuring out kind of what your lifestyle is like, what your experience with nootropics is, how we can help you, and then me giving you 5 to 6 suggestions on stacks that you can take, and then us working via email to dial those stacks in to get you on a good schedule of stacks that work for what you want them to work for. Get the consulting service at livecortex.com. If you're looking to take your nootropics usage to the master class, there's different echelons, man. I mean, you're 1 to 3 years in, you're kind of in the beginner echelon of nootropics, and that's cool. You'll get some results. 3 to 5 years in, you're kind of like in that intermediate level of taking nootropics, and you'll get better results. But once you cross the 5 or 6 year mark, you get astonishing results. You get stacks that work. You get consistency in stacks. You don't develop tolerances because you know how to cycle. We teach that and more, including inducing certain states on cue, in the Nootropics Masterclass. It is a video course, 1 hour and 15 minutes. You can buy that at livecortex.com. Last thing, we'll be talking about testosterone. If you're a guy that needs to boost test, you got to get the Viking Testosterone Protocol. It will change your life as a man. I know that sounds like super Tony Robbins-like, but it is true. It's gonna change your life as a guy. I can't tell you how much better my life is.
It does.
It does. I mean, it makes you a different person. If you're a man, the major hormone and driving force for you being a man is testosterone. And if you can improve it, it'll change your life. So get the Viking Testosterone Protocol at livecortex.com. Lucas, thank you so much for being with us. Our audience loves you and loves hearing from you. So we'll bring you on a podcast and some videos to come. Man, we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, Ryan. Appreciate it.
All right, brother. Talk to you later.
All right. See you, man.